Five, four, three, two, one. Here we go. What's up, everyone? This is Opening Up. I'm your host, Arthur. And today I'm going to talk about my education and my successes and failures throughout my educational history, as well as opening up the Elite Extra Edition Panini 2023 baseball cards, which may have 2 autographs or memorabilia cards inside. Look forward to see what we find in there. So I grew up in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and for the first 4 years of my life, I went to Catholic school. So St. Francis Cabrini on Sedan Street. I went from kindergarten to 3rd grade. Fortunately, St. Francis Cabrini is no longer around, but it was my first dip into the educational world. And I picked up math and I picked up reading very quickly. So much so that by the time I was in 3rd grade, I was on a 5th grade math and reading level. So what Catholic school would do, what the teachers would do, is they would take me out of the class and put me in a 5th grade class for both. It's not something they would do in public school, but they, I guess, had the okay to do that in Catholic school. Unfortunately, after 3rd grade, so at the time, my godmother and my biological father were splitting the bill for my tuition. It was a private school, but my biological father couldn't pay the tuition anymore, and my godmother couldn't hold it on by herself, and my mom was barely making ends meet, so she couldn't afford it. So in 4th grade, I had to go to public school, and Matt, it was a cultural shock. I went from being in a place where it was, smaller class, maybe like 15, 20 people. There was only 2 classes per grade, going to a public school where there was like 30 to 35 kids per class, and there was like 8 different classes per grade. And I remember when I went to 4th grade, I went into 4-1. So they actually classified the classes from 4-1 to 4-7. 4-1 being the kids who test the best and had the best grades, going down to 4-7 was special ed, 4-6 were kids who did not do well on their work or had behavioral issues. And how I know this was because 4th grade, I wasn't very successful in 4th grade, and it wasn't because of the work. I was actually doing work that I had done 2 years prior. And so what would happen is the teacher would go ahead and do like a do now. They'll start the class with each period with a do now, where you have to do an assignment that they write there that takes about 10 to 15 minutes. By the time the teacher was done writing the do now, I already had the answer, I already did the work. I was very fast and I knew the stuff. So her response when I was like, okay, I'm finished, like, all right, well, sit there, be quiet, wait for everyone else to finish. Yeah, I'm going to be 45 years old and I still can't sit down and just be quiet. Like, I get very fidgety, I need to start moving around, I need to do things. So, of course, as a kid, I was no different, and that's what I started doing. And it got me into a lot of trouble. And I remember one time I was just acting up, especially after do now, and she sent me to the 4-6 class with this message. You want to act up? Maybe you want to be with these animals, and put me in that class. Now, as a kid, I know it was a scare tactic, but as an adult, how up is that? Like, come on. Seriously? Hey, you want to behave like these kids? And it's like, poor kids, man. God knows what they were going through in their household, but listen. So that was my 4th grade. That was my 4th grade life. And then at 5th grade, I actually dropped down to 5-2 because what happened was I started doing poorly. Like I could do that, I could pass the test, but I wasn't doing the work. And a lot of that was my own life at home. I didn't have a great foundation at home. There was a lot of stuff going on. My grandmother had passed away not too long ago. My mom was just going through a deep, dark depression, and she couldn't get out of it. So, I kind of was fending for myself, and I'm doing a great job of it when it came to the school. But in 5th grade, and I just want to make this special shout out to Mr. Quigley. He was my 5th grade teacher, and he's probably the best teacher I ever had in my elementary education. And I'll tell you why. I was having the same issues in his class. Do a do now, boom, I'd be finished. But instead of just telling me to be quiet and just wait, or getting frustrated with me or putting to another class, he started directing my energies elsewhere. And he first started it. So now, at 123, every Friday we had auditorium, where you had 2 grades that went. So you had 2 grades in the morning, 5th and 4th, that would go like at 9 in the morning to auditorium. And then like at 11 o'clock, you had like the 3rd and the 4th, the 2nd and 3rd graders that would go. And then the afternoon, like at 1:30, was the kindergarten and 1st graders that would go. And what they would do is each class throughout the school, every Friday, a different class would do like a play or whatever, maybe a show. So our class 5-2 had the Thanksgiving play. And what he did was he made me the lead. And so what he would do in the class is, once the student was done, I would finish. Like, all right, now practice your lines. I mean, like, I had a freaking solo and everything. Like, it was brilliant, because then all my energies for the first half of the year was on the play, learning everything from the play. Then the play happened. So now, okay, what are you going to do for the second half now? So what he started doing then was he taught me how to play chess. And, with chess, you have to focus. You have to, you have to anticipate what the next person's going to do, what they're trying to do, make your moves, think of strategy. And what he would do is, after the do now, he had like a desk outside the hallway. So after I was done, someone was done, I was like, all right, now come into the hallway. And he would have me there. He would play with me sometimes, or he'll have a second kid finish. He'll come out to play with me while people do now. He kept me busy. So instead of me disrupting the class, he kept me busy. Thank you for that. Because, listen, one, I taught my son how to play chess. I love playing chess. I don't even think I could be doing this podcast if it wasn't for him, because him putting me in the lead and putting me up in front of that stage. I ended up that summer doing a acting group with him, going over to different libraries and schools over the summer. So, Mr. Quigley, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, if I ever get to see you again, man, I really would like to, because I would love to thank you for doing that for me. It made such an impact in my life. And there should be more teachers like him out there. All right, so then, done with 123, I graduate. I end up getting into 383. Philippa Schuyler, School for the Gifted and Talented. You have to contest to get in. Took the test. I passed. I get in. And it's a freaking cultural shock. Listen, I had the brains to pass the test, but I did not have the discipline to do the work. And man, I did miserably, to the point where I got left back in 7th grade and kicked out. Got kicked out. I actually suspended, kicked out, and left back on the same day. It was craziness, because that's when they suspended me. And when they said I got suspended, I was going to get left back because my grades were horrible, and I wasn't going to be able to stay in the school. And I ended up going to 111. Considered one of the worst schools in Bushwick to go to. Ironic enough, I actually had a great time there. But you know what? Work-wise, I mean, I could pass the test. And I'll be honest with you, they didn't really care as much. As long as you showed up and you did that, they were fine. Problem was, I stopped showing up. I started cutting school, got caught by truancy. And it's a funny story. So I got kicked off the basketball team for cutting. And I remember I cut one day, and truancy brings me in. They bring me into the dean. His name was Mr. W. And he was like, the guidance counselor wants to see you. I'm like, okay. I'm like, shit, I'm in trouble. I go to the guidance counselors. I want to show you something. So about a few weeks prior, a bunch of the 8th graders at 111 took the test for the specialized high schools. And it was Bronx School of Science, Stuyvesant, and Brooklyn Tech. And he showed me all these names, and then there's only one highlighted name. He's like, do you see the highlighted name? And I looked. I was like, yeah, it's my name. He's like, you're the only kid in the school who passed that test and got in. And I was just like, I could take tests. Like, I've always been able to listen, Matt, I can always take tests. He couldn't believe it, but it was crazy. After that, I was like freaking, I couldn't get in trouble. Like, I got caught, they would just send me back to class. I was like, this is amazing. So I guess, prestige for them, who knows? So I ended up going to Brooklyn Tech. And I went for 2 years, and I did horribly. Why? Because the same old story. I did not have the discipline. And Brooklyn Tech's no joke, because the thing is, like, listen, y'all all took a test to get in here, so you're all smart. So now do the work. And that's what I couldn't do. And I was in Brooklyn Tech for 2 years, got all of, 3 credits, never made it past 9th grade, ended up getting kicked out, went to Grover Cleveland High School. I went there for 1 year. And at one point, I went to the guidance counselor and was like, listen, you're 16, going to be 17 years old, and you only have 3 credits to your name. At this point, it doesn't make sense. But if you go full-time now, you go full hard, you're not going to graduate till you're almost 21 years old. So I ended up dropping out of high school. Because it was like, there was no point to it. And I was smart, I just didn't have the discipline. As I said, there was a lot of stuff in my life where, my mom grew up in a very, very strict household. And so when she raised her kid, she did a complete 180. I'm going to give him the freedoms. But the problem is, man, kids need structure. Kids need that discipline. And I didn't have it. So I had the brains, smart as hell, but I couldn't put 2 and 2 together. And ironic enough, so I'm a high school dropout. And it's funny, as I started going to the the GED program. So it's funny. It's actually one day. It's me, my best friend at the time, Len, and my son's mother. Because at that time, I already had a kid. So I was 17 years old. And one day we're like, you know what? Let's just go take the practice test for the GED. Let's all do it. You know what? We need to do something with our lives. Because we're like, we can't just, we got to do something. So we went to go take the GED. You don't take the GED, take a practice test to see where you need help in. And then you could take classes there because it was free. And you could take classes there on the areas that you need help in. Then you go take the test and you get your GED. So here we go. It's early one morning and it's me, Len, and Monique. And the first part they give us is math. Now, math has always been my thing. And we're doing a thing, and 15 minutes, I'm done with it. So I give it back to the guy. He's like, oh, is there a problem? Is there something wrong? I was like, no, I'm finished. He's like, you finished? I was like, yeah. All right, go take a seat. All right. So I'm sitting down, he's starting to grade it, and I'm just sitting there. And he goes like, do you have a book there with you? I was like, no. Can you get up? And then he makes me get up and check. Got a perfect on the freaking GED math practice test. So he's never seen anyone do that before. And then of course I was like, okay. Like, what were you saying? Like I could take tests. Like I just know how to take tests well. And so what's funny is that after all that, so my friend Len and Monique, they don't come back. I end up coming back to take the classes. But they had me taking classes, and after a week I stopped going because I'm like, wait a minute. I ended up taking 3 practice tests. So I think passing at the time was like 240. You had to get 40 on each part and get a 240 total, 245. I was scoring over 300. I was passing each easily, and I was scoring over 300 on the practice GED test. And I took like 3 of them. So I stopped going. And when a lady calls me, it's like, oh, you stopped coming to the classes? And I was like, yeah, because it makes no sense. What am I going to learn? Like, I'm acing the test. Why would I need to stay? Well, because if you take the test and you're failing, always 6 months. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to fail. Like, oh, and her cocky thing, oh, you think I'm going to pass? You know what? We're going to set you right there. But understand that if you fail, that you have to come in for 6 months. I'm like, yeah, fine, whatever. I take it. I ace it. I get my GED. End up going to LIU at 17 years old. So, like, it's crazy. Like I said, my intellect, my smarts got me to certain areas, but then it wasn't the discipline of work that didn't let me succeed. And that was a good lesson for me in life because as I got older, I realized that it's not enough just to know the things. You've got to put the work in also. And that's a big lesson. And I think sometimes that gets lost. You've got to put the work in. You have to put the work in because if you don't put the work in and you just do that, you end up getting lazy habits. And it's very hard to be successful in life when you don't have the foundation. So, listen, today I got my MBA in management. I've worked many different jobs. I've managed an animal hospital, a doctor's practice, CFO and CEO of a law firm. Done many different things in my life. And, and it's due to my education. It's due to my education. But it was also going through what I went through when I was younger. And it was really learning about the importance of not just knowing it, but putting that work in. All right. We're going to open it up. Here we go. Bring up my little window here so we can see what we have. It's only 3 packs. 3 packs of cards with 5 cards. Let's see the first one. I'm very excited. Let's see if we get anything fun in here. All right, here we go. Go look it up. Who do we have here? All right. Here we got Kyle Teal. Here we go. Future star status. We have Moses Polestros over here. Moses. Well, first signature card, we got Brock Jones from the Tampa Bay Rays. Got a nice signature card here. We're going to put that on here. We also have, who's this? Noel. And last but not least, we have Charlie Soto. There we go. All right, that's the first pack right here. We're going to open up the second pack now. I love opening packs. I'm just surprised to see what you get in there. And, very nice. Opening it up. Here we go. We have Aiden Smith of Seattle. There you go. And then Nolan Schnoll again. Wow, Nolan. Here we go. There you go. We have Ty Floyd of Cincinnati, and this is it's a jersey card. You see it right here. There you go. Put that over here. Kiefer Lord. Kiefer Lord. Get the little zoom over there. There you go. Carson Roccaforte. Very nice. Boom. So these are rookies. Their first year comes in. Put this over here. Then we're going to open up one more pack. So let's see. We'll see if Brock Jones ever becomes anything. The card may be worth something one day. Who knows? All right, here we go. The final one. We have Jacob Wilson, the Athletics. Right here. Then we have Travis Soroka, Washington Nationals. Andy Matos from the Dominican Prospect League. Cole Forster of the San Francisco Giants. A.J. Ewing of the New York Mets. Well, he's in their minor league system. All right, so I got a signature card and I got a jersey card. May not know these names now. It's like, who are these guys? Like I said, these are guys who just first came on. They're first-time rookies. Putting them in there. Some of these guys may come up, may be something, but still fun opening the cards. So yeah, so like I said, for anything you take from today is the work is important too. It's not just knowing it, but it's putting the work in. And listen, and it's not always going to be appreciated. And that's okay. But if you always, every time attack something and putting the work into it, you'll have more successes than not, and you'll have more appreciation for it. All right. Well, you guys have a good week this week, and we'll talk next week. Thanks for hanging out and letting me open up. We'll talk soon.